New information does continue to emerge after that deadly shooting at a religious school in Wisconsin that left 3 people dead, including the teenage shooter. Madison police say 15-year-old Natalie Ruppnow also wounded 6 people in the attack at Abundant Life Christian School before she then turned the gun on herself. Court documents obtained by the Associated Press allege a California man told FBI agents that he had been messaging with Ruppnow about attacking a government building with a gun and explosives. The paperwork does not detail the interactions between the 20-year-old man and Ruppnow, but it states the man was plotting a mass shooting with her. It's not clear at this point if that man has or will be charged. I do want to bring in Jack Jupin, a retired FBI supervisory special agent, also the founder and CEO of Jupin International. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Good morning, Josh. How are you today?
Good, good. Thank you again. And I did want to ask, because you have this situation where investigators say this man, an adult, was speaking with this 15-year-old girl about planning a mass shooting. That is, again, according to court documents there. So what do you make of that as you have this adult communicating with a 15-year-old shooter?
Well, you nailed it right there. Why is a 20-year-old man talking to a 15-year-old? From California, obviously nowhere near Wisconsin. I don't know what the relationship there was. I know my former colleagues at the FBI have talked to this man or are interviewing this man. I don't know what the relationship was there. He could be looked at as a co-conspirator in this shooting. We don't know yet. As you mentioned earlier in your show, this is very preliminary. It's very early in the investigation, but they're going to be going through all those text messages. I can assure you that. And probably also looking at both of their social media, what they're putting out online, and what that relationship was. And they're going to dig into that. They're going to look into that very, very much.
And on that same note, and again, all of this is preliminary. There's a lot left to figure out. But could the man actually be charged if investigators do determine that maybe he knew that the teen was going to carry out the shooting at the school and he didn't do anything to stop it?
Yeah, you're correct. And he actually can be charged as a co-conspirator. It's really going to come down to what those communications really said. What he said to her, what was going on there. I mean, this is quite strange, to be honest with you. I've never seen one of these, and I've spoken on the past on Fox quite a bit about active shooters and these type of situations. I've never seen one like this though, where the shooter was actually in contact with an adult. In this case, again, where that relationship came from, we don't know yet, but we will get to the bottom of it. When I say we collectively, I mean law enforcement will get to the bottom of this one, because this is a strange one. To be very honest, I've never seen anything like this. So we're going to find out, right? We're going to do the investigation, but a lot of it's going to do with those interactions between the two. And if there is enough information, he can be charged. So we're going to find that out in the coming days, maybe weeks.
This is a question that I have, and I want to get your take on it, because police haven't necessarily said this yet. They haven't confirmed or denied it. But does it appear from what you've seen that the shooter was actually targeting specific people there? We know that a student and a teacher were shot and killed. 6 other people were wounded, 2 of them in critical condition. Does it appear the shooter was targeting people, or is that something that is still left to figure out?
Well, it is, Josh, you're correct. I mean, that we still definitely have to figure that out. But it does appear in this case that she was targeting somebody. The fact that there's one specific teacher that was unfortunately killed in this situation, that brings to my attention that this young lady was looking for her or him, the teacher, and there was a lot of what we would say collateral damage. Of a lot of other kids were hurt and injured. And I mean, obviously this poor girl had some serious mental health issues. I mean, that's the best I could say because a 15-year-old. I mean, I have daughters. I know what teenage girls are like, and I know there's a lot of stressors in this world. I know there's a lot going on, but in this case, it's a little disturbing. But I believe that she probably did have a particular person in mind in this case, if not others. But I think definitely she probably did have somebody in mind.
A lot of reporters have asked Madison police about a potential motive. Again, that's still under investigation. But one thing that stood out to a lot of people is the chief said that it appeared to be a quote unquote combination of factors. What does that say to you? Does it tell you anything about the potential motive there when you say a quote combination of factors?
Yeah, I mean that's probably true. It's probably exactly true. There might be some mental health issues here. There could be bullying involved. There could be she was having a problem with certain people in school or a certain teacher in school, and she kind of snapped. What I'm more concerned about is where did that weapon come from? Um, she is 15 years old and had access to a handgun, and that's disturbing. Not only did she have access to it, she knew how to use it. And yes, it's sometimes as simple as pulling the trigger, but that gun had to be locked, loaded, and fully ready to go. And she seemed to know how to do all of that. So that tells me that this is not her first experience being in and around weapons. And she was able to use it. Unfortunately, for the detriment of a lot of people, she really caused a lot of harm in a lot of people's lives, including her own.
From an FBI and investigative perspective, how does it change the investigation and the situation when you have a deceased shooter? As we know, investigators say she took her own life after firing inside the school, versus having a suspect that is alive and taken into custody and goes through kind of the legal process there.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of these situations end exactly like this one ended, with the shooter taking their his or her own life, and which leaves us with a lot of unknown questions, not no answers. The family themselves probably cannot provide even enough. They may be able to give us a little of insight of what happened here and what was going on in this poor young girl's life. And I sincerely mean that. This is a poor young girl that was clearly had mental troubles, and it's unfortunate. Obviously, what happened here. This is tragic. But unfortunately, we're also never going to get those answers from her. So the best we can do is talk to family members, talk to friends, and talk to everybody that was around her, and try and find answers. Maybe there's social media out there where she posted stuff. Maybe she left a note. Maybe she spoke to others before the incident. But there's a lot of investigation still to go on in this matter.
How do you feel about the flow of information? We saw a news conference that was held that same day. We saw another one that was a follow-up news conference. How do you feel about the flow of information from law enforcement there over to members of the media, to the public who wanted to know a little bit more about the situation? How do you feel about that?
They're doing their job. I mean, they're not going to come out and tell us everything right now. They're going to conduct their investigation, and sometimes most times it's more important that they keep things a little close to the vest, and they do their work first. Look, it will all come out eventually. We will know the answers, what law enforcement comes up with. But in the meantime, I know I've been involved in too many of these. When I was a supervisory special agent with the Bureau. And the bottom line is we can't always talk. We got to do our investigation, go to the grindstone, get the work done, and then, we will talk about it. down the road, and it will come out. And but at this point in time, like we've been mentioning, it's early on in the investigation, and they really got to get their job done. And unfortunately, the media and others are more of a distraction than anything else. That they want to get their job done, and they want to get it done confidentially. We're talking about a young girl here, 15 years old. And the family wants privacy on this. I'm sure they're cooperating with law enforcement. That's my understanding on this matter already, that they are cooperating with law enforcement. But they've got to do their job first, and they will give press conferences. You saw the police speaking about the matter in a press conference earlier on your show, and they're just trying to get to the bottom line of what happened here. And it's going to take a while. It just takes time. These things don't happen in 10 minutes. They happen in days and weeks, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not like a TV show. It takes a little bit longer than, a 60-minute show to conduct this entire investigation. Jack, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and help discuss this further. Anything else you want to add before I let you go?
No, Josh, I mean, like I said, this is a tragic event. This is, and unfortunately, we have to talk about this too many times. I've talked with you and your folks before about this and other news outlets, and then it's unfortunate that we're even talking about this. How to prevent it, but there's a lot of things that we need to be looking at and be, situational awareness is something I teach at my company at Jupin International. I teach situational awareness. I teach active shooter training. I teach people how to handle these situations if and when they come about. And, situational awareness is a big part of it because people are not always aware of their surroundings. And sometimes, I'm not saying they can prevent it, but sometimes people can see certain things around them that show that maybe somebody is in need of help. Somebody is looking to maybe possibly do damage or hurt somebody. And if people around them are paying attention, that could be a strong indicator that something's going to happen. That's something that we need to be looking for. And that doesn't only include schools, the workplace, houses of worship. If we're paying attention, sometimes we can see some of the signs of something that's about to happen.
See something, say something. Jack, thank you again for taking the time to be here with us. We appreciate it.
Sure thing, Josh. Have a great day.
You too.